All right, Beyond Average, Episode 8. We have Adam Hamwey joining us on the program today. He sat down with Christian and myself for about a 45-minute interview. Ham brought the heat today, man. He really did. He was very open about everything, very honest of how he got to where he is today. You know, went from making YouTube videos in his basement to now working for Michael Rubin, who happens to own the Philadelphia 76ers if you live under a rock. Honestly, couldn't be prouder of Ham. Really just an inspiring story all around. So I think people are going to really resonate and enjoy the story. Real quick, I am going to kind of jump in and out of the conversation here because, you know, we did kind of ramble a little bit and I don't want people to get lost. So I think me kind of narrating parts of it will help. Here in the beginning, you're going to hear Ham kind of talk about his come up and before his Michael Rubin days on what he was doing and just how the fuck he got into this world. Here you go, guys. This is good.
How'd you get started? Like, all right, so you started going with on Cape. You kind of started this whole thing. It wasn't just like you went to New York, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I was working a sales job in Boston. I think you remember that when I was living in Quincy. Yeah. I was like 21 years old, living on my own, had my own apartment, and thought I was the coolest kid in the world. And then just was like miserable and ready for something new. So I left. Was at a startup for like 6 months, which is called VidPal, which was like an on-demand videographer platform that never really took off. But
where was that?
That was in New York, and then we went to Seattle, and we did an accelerator in Seattle.
You went with them to Seattle?
Yeah, I was there for, I think it was the summer of 2017 or 16.
I remember this. Yeah.
I think it was the summer of 2016.
Yeah. I remember because I remember you got the drone. I remember you made that sick video of the Cape Cod Bridge. And that was kind of like when drones were kind of popping off too. Like they were kind of new and it was just like, oh shit, that is sick.
Yeah, so
How'd you make that?
I pretty much came home after the whole VidPal thing and then was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life.
Yeah.
I knew like making videos was like I enjoyed doing it. I did a lot of middle school with my friends in Mansfield. We put a lot of stuff on YouTube, whether it be like prank videos or like highlight reels, like Bruins or Patriots or Celtics highlight reels, stuff like that.
YouTube stuff.
Yeah, and like I loved it. My mom always told me, she was like, this is like something that you should always pursue. And like, but when we're in high school, we never really like think about that kind of stuff. We're just focused on like drinking beers,
right.
And playing lacrosse,
and nobody else does it. Like that's kind of the thing. Like none of our other friends did anything like that, or at least my friends did anything close to that. So it's like you're going completely against what your friends are doing. Most of your friends probably went to college and they're doing that stuff. So it's like
it's your own path.
Exactly. You got to kind of making your own thing, and people probably at first looked at you weird. I mean, I didn't think you were weird or anything like that, but I definitely knew it was a risk.
Well, the thing is, like, I was going to community college, and I hate school. I've just never been a good student. I don't even know why I thought that would be a good avenue to go down. And I just started watching.
Did you take any video courses there?
No, I was doing. We were in EMT school.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And just like random communications classes and like just bullshit.
We were just like doing our like
do.
gen eds at F4Cs, and I was just miserable. So I actually just stopped going.
Yeah.
And like was going to the library and like watching YouTube videos all day of like how to edit and how to get more into like complex editing and like shooting and stuff like that.
So you did use your time wisely though at college.
Except I was like paying for. I was paying for like
a couple $1,000 to like, go to the library.
But
you paid to use the library.
Yeah, so pretty much. And then I got a job at the Irish Village. And they gave me an opportunity to kind of like start running their social media and like creating content for them. Right. And I convinced them to buy a drone, which was like $1,000.
Let's go. Wheeling and dealing, baby.
And the thing about it was like I shot for them. I did all their stuff. And then he let me use it for like going up and down Cape and like finding other hotels and other stuff like that. So I started shooting all those.
Finding other hotels,
just like shooting like aerial photos,
just like, for like the website or shit like that.
For you to do it for yourself,
for the Irish Village, and for me to do it for myself to make like
so
extra
you could
money
use
on the side.
Whenever you want to freelance, whatever.
That's just kind of the guy that he is, and he just let me do it. And then that kind of just started snowballing, and I like started realizing more and more what I wanted to do, and like getting into PR and social media and content creation. It's like what I do has like 3 pillars. It's like creating content and that's like creating shows, like what I did for Ryan on YouTube, which tens of thousands of people watched every week.
Right.
There's the PR side, which is kind of like the behind the scenes strategy, all that stuff. But when I was doing it for down when I was doing it for the hotels and stuff like that, like it was pretty much me just taking pictures and posting it for their social media. But I had like a bigger idea and a bigger goal. Like I saw a vision that like most celebrities, most athletes, actors, everything are gonna have somebody with them in the future who follows them around and creates content around what they're doing in their daily life. Yeah. I
mean, Instagram's such a moneymaker for all those people right now.
Yeah, but it not even I mean, I see Instagram more as like a feeder to like, because YouTube is really where long form content creation really comes in. So I didn't have anybody to shoot on Cape Cod who like this kind of lifestyle video or like behind the scenes, or someone who's doing speaking events, somebody who's like helping people like that. There's just nobody for me to like attach myself to.
Just shows you how new it was too. Like, yeah, it's so new.
Exactly. So I just started like networking with a bunch of people like outside of the Cape and New York, because I knew that's where I wanted to go eventually anyway. And I somehow got in touch with a guy named John Henry, who is a venture capitalist in New York. He is the same age as I am, actually.
And, no shit.
Sold his first company at 18 for like $2 million or something like that.
Oh, shit.
In New York. So he's a badass, smart dude, never went to college, immigrant parents, like hardworking, just great all-around dude. And we connected on Instagram one day. And again, this is before I had any portfolio. Like I was only making videos for myself because I didn't have anyone else to make them for. Right. So I was sending him videos like I made of myself and like being like, hey, dude, I can do this for you. It'll be a lot more interesting. You'll have stuff like, you'll have speaking events, you'll have engagements where you can like one-on-one talking to somebody.
No shit, I didn't know you did that.
Yeah,
that's the question I had for you. So were you ever going to be like the subject? So you just made yourself it.
I hate it more than anything in the whole world. Like the only reason why I did it back then was because I didn't have anybody else to shoot. So I was like, this is my only option. Like I'm not going to be able to make this. Man. I'm not going to make this interesting, but at least I can make like great music, B-roll, and like just kind of display.
The production will be there. Maybe not like your content that you make, but it'll look great and it'll sound great.
Thank God, John answered my DM on Instagram. He was like, "Hey, I'm going to be at Babson tomorrow. I need someone to film. Can you like bring all your equipment and come through?"
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Yeah, dude, 100%." I was like, "When's your thing?" He was like, "Yeah, tomorrow at 9 a.m." I was like, "Oh." Shit.
Where were you at the time? Were you in Boston?
I was here.
Okay, so
I was here, but all I had was a camera. I didn't have any microphones. So I went to the Cape Media Center where I'd been going before and like learning a bunch of stuff. Dude, this is actually one of the funnier, like the greatest stories.
Oh, here we go.
Someday I'm gonna be able to like make a movie about this. But first time I met John, I had to go to the Cape Media Center in the morning. It was like 7 a.m. They like opened it early for me, so I like rent out the microphone, grabbed the microphone, drove to Babson in the middle of probably the worst blizzard of that entire winter.
Oh no!
Like I was going 30 on the highway, like left super early so I could make it. And then like I'm like texting John. He's like, "Dude, I'm going on at 5. I'm like going on in 10 minutes. Like, where you at?"
Motivational speaking or something like that?
Yeah, he was doing a speaking event at Babson for students or something like that. And I was like, "Dude, look outside, like it's a blizzard. Like I'm doing the best I can."
Yeah, let me get there, buddy.
3 minutes before he goes on stage, dude, I like you've been to Babson, like it's an older school, and there's these big doors, and I like came barreling through the doors with like 2 minutes left, mic John up, and then film the entire thing, and like him seeing me go like all out and like hustle like that hard for it, and to know like he knew that I was just starting and I didn't have a whole lot, so we just hit it off right away. And then 4 months later, we were in the New York Times for doing like personal videography and
was that on John, and then you were in it, or like how was that whole thing? How did that come about? Like, what was that article about?
So what they told us the article was going to be about was kind of just to display like this new reality TV. Okay. And which was like Gary Vaynerchuk was a huge player who he films every single day of his life, has a videographer. And then there was like a couple other people, and that the point was to kind of just like show everyone that this is like a new thing. And then when the article came out, it was kind of like a hit piece on John and kind of made him look like a narcissist, and like it just wasn't like the greatest article for him.
I remember reading it. Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a huge like validation for what I do, which is like it like nobody really knew what was going on. Like, this was a thing.
It's a thing you can do.
You were mentioned in there like by name and everything.
Yeah,
right?
by name and how much I charged at the time. Yeah, which wasn't supposed to go in there. Like,
oh no shit,
dude. It was like, it's the New York Times, so I'm not like, I mean, I'm not surprised whatsoever.
Especially at that time too. It's like,
yeah.
So dope though.
She was like, so how much do you charge these people? And I was like, well, I'm not gonna say that. Like,
that's a weird question.
That in print. Like, and I was like, so is this off the record? She was like, yeah. So then I told her, and then it ended up being in the article.
How much was it?
What an asshole lady.
Was, dude, I can't even remember. I want to say it was like $700 a day, which is like low.
Yeah, I imagine.
Or
so.
it was like $500 a day or something like that, which is really low. Yeah. But anyway, like that article came out the day I moved to New York City. Like my mom and I went to the bodega on the corner in Harlem, and it was like sitting on the stand, and like I got to buy a copy of like, and like you fold like 3 pages over, and it's like 3 big pictures of me. It was the coolest.
Was that a turning point? Was that a big turning point?
Huge turning point and huge like validation. That, like,
you got more belief in yourself. Like, this is real. I can do this.
Because that's literally all I had. Because at the time I moved to New York with $300 in my pocket. Like,
that's dope.
3 months of rent I paid for up front. But then after that, I didn't know anybody. Like, John lived down the street, so I spent most of my time with him. And then we just started like riding and like really like pushing content and started making a name for ourselves. And then Ryan Serhant took notice, and he reached out to me and said he was thinking about doing something similar, like a behind the scenes vlog. Like, obviously he's on.
Explain who he is just real quick.
He's he's the number 1 real estate broker in New York, pretty much. He sells luxury real estate, everything from like $2 million apartments up to like $180 million apartments.
Right.
Like,
big deal.
He's on a show on Bravo called $1 Million Listing, but obviously anything on Bravo is obviously going to be like super edited and super fabricated. So he wanted to kind of go down this new avenue, and we started out like, so this is where it really like turned, because with John I was kind of running his overall brand and PR and all that kind of stuff. But for Ryan, it was like my sole focus was his social media and creating this show on YouTube for him. And we ended up like getting together, sitting down, hashing out a plan. It was going to be 1 long form show per week, between 4 and 18 minutes, depending on what we had that week.
How many hours do you have to put in for that?
Oh my God.
You yourself.
So I was shooting, editing, and producing and distributing everything all by myself.
How many months in is this to your career? Like how? Like
this was
18 months in.
Less than a year.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
that's
it was
brand new.
It was less than like a full year. And yeah, so we kicked it off, and we're doing 1 episode a week. And honestly, like, that's 2 full days of filming usually. Like, with him from the second he wakes up. Anybody who's seen one of the vlogs knows that it's all like I'm shooting all day long. So the second he wakes up and like walks out of his apartment, goes to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, like I would be outside his apartment.
Yep.
And I'd start rolling the camera, get all the B-roll of his workout, and then like get some context clips beforehand, like, hey, what are we doing today? What's on the schedule? Who are you meeting with? Why are you meeting with them? That kind of thing. And pretty much produce a show each day. But I would only film like 2 days a week, because 3 or 4 of the days after that are all editing, like sitting behind a computer, chopping up all the raw footage.
Is he paying you for just days that you're there? Or is he paying you for the days that
No,
you're
at this
doing?
point I'm on salary, so like I had a monthly retainer kind of thing worked out with him. But it, like, I knew that this was like my opportunity to have like a pretty big name and do something, especially because he has a show in fake reality TV. Yeah. Like I'm trying to prove to the world that this is like the new wave and like what everybody's going to be doing. So this is a perfect case study for what I was looking for.
For sure.
And I started pumping out content, and we would do like 1 vlog a week, and then with like trailers, and then I'll micro content on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, stuff like that. Collaborations with other huge YouTubers in the city, people who had millions of viewers, that kind of thing.
Did you feel like your content getting better by like the day, basically? Like not by the day, but
that was another really like cool thing, because I think 5 to 6 episodes in, we started really like gaining some traction. And not only am I getting feedback from like people, like friends, family who are watching it, I'm getting like feedback from like random people in the comments.
Right. Yeah.
And like, I'd say like halfway through the first year, like we had about 10,000, like over tens of thousands of people watching per week.
That's awesome.
And like I'd click upload, and I'd come back in like a couple hours, and I'd be like thousands of views, hundreds of comments. So that was kind of like, I could see what was working, what wasn't working, like what people liked, what people didn't like. That was like the coolest time for me, because I'm like adjusting on the fly.
There was your biggest learning curve.
But at the same time, it's an absolute grind. Like full, like those days where I'm filming, I have the camera pointed at him. I'm like locked in the entire time. And then the days of editing, it's literally going through those day or 2 days and going through every minute of the previous day and then cutting up the clips and then putting them in a storyline and then putting that storyline into like a real story.
Is that over with now?
Yeah. So
is that getting picked back up with him, or is
so I hired a guy named Adrian like about halfway through, and Adrian is one of my closest friends, like nicest dude I've ever met in my life, and like kind of trained him to be what I was doing because it wasn't sustainable for like the amount of work I was putting in. So Adrian, and then Adrian started before I left, he started like chipping in, like he would do a vlog or something like that to like take the workload off a little bit. And then January, it was almost like the December, it was 11 months after we started the vlog, we hit 250,000 subscribers on YouTube. And so like that was like 50 episodes, 250,000 subscribers. That's like massive on YouTube. It's the hardest platform to grow an audience on. So we like it was great. It was perfect, and I was just so burnt out and like ready for something new. And I had somebody reach out to me from an ad agency and offered me the chief content officer position with a great salary. So I decided to leave Ryan, and like he understood. He was like, "You're 25." I was 25 at the time. He was like, "You're 25 years old. Like, go do your thing."
Right.
And I went and did that, but it was like taking a step all the way back into like this corporate environment, and I was not having it. So I did 3 months there and hated it and was miserable. And then offered another job by a guy who's buying a soccer team, Sunderland AFC in England.
That's right.
I remember this.
Yeah, and
you were going to London, right? You were going overseas, right?
I was ready to go. And Mark, who's the guy who was buying the team, Mark Campbell, reached out to me via email because he watched the vlogs. Ryan, he was like, "Hey, I'm in the process of purchasing this big soccer team." Like, think of getting a cold email like this.
Yeah.
Right.
The thing of buying like this big soccer team.
I remember you telling me
with
this.
Ryan, like I still have the email. Then he was like, "I want to create behind the scenes content of everything that's going to be going on with this club. We're going to be flipping it inside out, bringing in new players, bringing in new staff, all that kind of stuff. And you have full bars, like create whatever you want." And they already had a Netflix show at the time. So I was actually going to be able to go up against that Netflix show and give them an aspect of the Netflix show wasn't giving to the audience. And the audience already didn't like it because they kind of shined a bad light on Sunderland as a city. So I was in pre-production for that for 2 months. So I was like getting paid and communicating with him and like starting to organize a team and do budgets, all that kind of stuff. And then I think it was like towards the end of the summer where he called me one day. He was like, "Hey, we're in some trouble." I was like, "Oh, fuck." And he told me that Michael Dell, the guy who started Dell Computers, was like coming in and blowing their offer out of the water.
No shit. It was them, huh?
Yeah, so I was sitting there like
fucking Zinc.
Now like
yeah, literally fuck Zinc, fuck Dell.
Now like odd Cape Cod, like with all my stuff packed to move to England for the next year, like travel arrangements already set.
You were ready to go.
Did you have a lease and everything there, or were they covering
they were covering everything. Yeah,
but you were going to be Euro Ham. We were calling you Euro Ham.
Yeah,
I remember this.
I was like, and I was excited because it was like it was sports, and I had never been able to work directly in sports before, and I love soccer.
That's
so
something
like,
you dream of. You know what I mean? You get a team,
was cool.
you get to go work
overseas in
like
fucking London to go to soccer is the biggest
25
thing there.
years
literally
old,
running
like,
at 25 years old, running a
would have been incredible.
European League.
Could have been fucking
it was an
cricket.
incredible
Done it.
experience.
Doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't matter where it is. It's awesome.
And it just didn't happen. And I was like devastated.
Yeah.
And I think like that was probably one of my lower points because I was like I was on such a trajectory. I thought I was just like chopped off.
Is that the worst moment you think so far?
I would say it was probably the worst moment.
Yeah, the biggest low.
I would say because there's been just so many highs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that much of a low.
Well, dude, your fucking path has been a skyrocket up. There's been a couple shaky points, but it's been a fucking skyrocket.
Yeah,
literally, it's just been one after another.
I mean, that happened, and then I think there was like 3 or 4 days where I was like, really, like, what am I gonna do? Like, because trying to find somebody to do.
Were you ever like, should I go hit up Ryan?
No.
So
I mean, I could always go back. No, because
you were already somewhat established.
I was
right?
I was already past that. Like I left. That wouldn't be like. That just wasn't something that was even on my radar.
Yeah.
But
All right, I'm just going to hop in here real quick and just shine some light on how fucking insane that story is of Hamwey. I mean, might not sound like the craziest journey or anything, right, just hearing it, but just put yourself in his shoes, and do you think you would just up and move your life to New York City really without a job or a plan and just kind of with a dream, no education, no nothing? I don't know if I could do it. I certainly don't, and it's just really inspirational, man. But now you're going to hear Hamwey kind of tell the story of how he got together with Michael Rubin and how the hell he works for one of the most famous NBA owners in the world, and how the hell is Hamwey going to the Super Bowl and shit? What world am I in?
3 days or something like that. I got a call from one of my really good friends who runs the Dunk page on Instagram. It's a big basketball page.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what it is. Yep.
His name's Elliot Robinson. He's a really good friend of mine, and he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, I know we talked about this Michael Rubin thing a couple of months ago, but you were working a full-time job at the ad agency and you couldn't really do anything." And I was like, before you say anything else,
yeah, literally.
Know that I'm available.
I'm coming to New York tomorrow, and we're gonna meet. So I went down, I met with Elliot, and like we pretty much had the same vision. Like he was working as a consultant for Michael to try to find somebody like me to attach myself. Mm-hmm. So he's been on the hunt, and I think it was between like me and like 10 other people who they were going to interview. And then the interview process started, and I met with the senior vice president of communications at Fanatics. And that interview went great. And then I think the third interview was with Michael himself, and I was terrified.
Run me through that day. What was that? What was getting dressed like? You were probably fucking shaking in your boots.
Yeah, it was very intimidating. Like meeting, I've met billionaires before, and I've met like people in like power and stuff like that. But I don't really get starstruck ever. But like with Michael, like I had so much on the line. Like this was something so big, and like I told a handful of people that I got the interview, and I was in the interview process with it. But
I remember this. Yeah.
I've learned so much in the last 4 years of like not telling people about something until it's actually done.
Set in stone.
Dude, it happens, especially in the media industry. It happens so much where like you have something go all the way up until the finish line if you're about to film or something like that, and then it doesn't work.
Or you record the interview and just don't record it.
Yeah, that stuff happens.
Happens. But continue.
But yeah, so I sat down with Michael, and I like once I sat in. The interview's in his $82 million apartment.
Give me a break.
Penthouse
give me a fucking break.
I mean, I've seen I'm working with Ryan. I've seen like crazy luxury buildings, and his is the best apartment I've ever seen.
And it's not your boss.
Outside of like, I think there was a $92 million apartment I saw in Central Park, but like his is probably the top 5 I've ever seen.
It's fucking insane.
So I sit down, and we just kind of like, I just talked to him like a normal guy, and like told him what I've done and where I see his brand going, and like how I can help him. And we just hit it off, and we became like.
Did he say hired, or did he say, all right, I'll talk to you?
No, he said, well, we'll definitely. He said, I'll talk to you. And like I was walking out, and then there was like another kid walking in like right after me.
You're like, oh shit.
And like I don't like dress up for this kind of stuff, so I was literally wearing like a black hoodie and black jeans and a black
cocky
hat. Like that's just.
I love it.
I mean, and like I think the senior vice president of Fanatics, who I work directly with now, said he said something about it, and I was like, yeah, this is how I dress pretty much every day. He was just like, oh,
it's authentic, right?
I mean, I like that's what it comes down to. Like you talk to somebody like a normal human being, and like tell them like these are my goals, like this is where I really see it going, and they don't give a fuck what you're wearing, or like or like if you have a beard or something like that, like no,
they care about your work,
especially people like that. Like that's the last thing that he was even thinking about. But I found it funny afterwards,
for sure.
But yeah, they offered me the job, and I've been with Michael since September.
Yep.
And that has opened a
what's that like?
What's that like right now with this going on?
It's tough. It's really tough because I'm communicating with him, and obviously he's communicating with like all of his senior leadership and executives and stuff like that. There hasn't been like a ton of stuff for us to do outside of, I don't know if you saw the Phillies and the Yankees, where the Fanatics announced that they are taking those jerseys and making them into masks and distributing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't see that. That's really good.
And distributing them through
Plug it out.
Like New York, New Jersey, and we were on SportsCenter. We were on like MSNBC, everything.
Yeah.
So that was a huge deal. I think.
Shout out Fanatics.
The tweet I think had like 9 million impressions.
That's dope.
In 48 hours.
Fucking crazy.
Like that.
It's awesome.
So that stuff's been good, but
what about like before this? Like what about like day to day?
Like day to day, I work out of the Fanatics has an office in New York on Madison Avenue. I work out of there. I work directly with the PR department, but since like I do so many different things, so it's like I'm doing PR. I'm like helping PR Fanatics. I'm also doing like Michael's PR for Reform Alliance, which is criminal justice reform with Robert Kraft, Jay-Z, Meek Mill, and they're always doing a bunch of press stuff for that. So I'm like managing all that stuff. Also like Michael's personal like stuff that he wants to put out, fun old times, like that's kind of stuff. Right. So it's a little bit of everything.
Have you ever posted anything or suggested anything that ended up being bad or negatively? No, I'm pretty good about that. Like you're saying, when you're dealing with criminal reform stuff, and are you in charge of saying like we should shoot this and put this on Instagram?
Yeah, well, no, because the reform stuff is usually all pre-produced beforehand. So like I'm in contact with them, and I've like worked with them a little bit on like, hey, you should start doing more of this stuff on the Reform social. But again, Reform's only like 16 months old.
Yeah,
right. So they're still very new, and like their content creation and social media is not super high on their priority list. Getting people out of prison is like exactly. They're doing such a little more important. They're doing so much more like high level stuff that like their social media presence isn't on the top of the priority list. But it was great when I joined Michael, because I was like, it was cool because Michael was like, you know, all the things that I'm involved with, like whether it's Fanatics, whether it's Reform, or any of this other stuff. Always come to me if you have an idea or if you can add value
directly
to something. Directly to him. I mean, I text. We're on the phone texting every single day. Yeah. So I got on the phone with him. I think it was in January. I got on the phone and I was like, hey, like I think I had like a dream the night before or something. And I was like, we need to like do this video series for Reform. And he was like, brilliant idea. Like, I'll put you in touch with them. And then I got in touch with them, and we started moving towards the process of creating it. Unfortunately, there's a virus that happened. Yeah. And so all that stuff got put on hold. But
is there any kind of like commission for you, or is it all just salary? And
it's all just salary. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not motivated by money in any way, shape, or form. Like I make a good amount of money. I live in a nice apartment, and I'm happy, and I don't have to like worry about finances every week like I did before. Like when I was with John, like I was working with John full time, building his brand, doing all of his content, doing all of his PR, and then also to make money, because John couldn't pay me a full-time salary at the time. To make money, I was doing travel videography for a luxury travel company. So like they would send me to the Ritz-Carlton, like the Maldives and the Bahamas, and I would just go there and hang out for a week and make videos. Yeah. And I did that on the side when I was with John to just try to like make money. And then finally when I got with Ryan, I was like I had enough behind me to be like, all right, this is how much I want. This is like how I want it to play out, and we mutually agreed. And then the same thing with Michael. Yeah. So like money wise, it's just never been, and I feel like I offer enough value that it's like I'm not asking for like $400,000 a year. Like it's a pretty doable amount, especially with the amount of like attention and eyeballs that I mean,
you can say it's cliche or you're gonna undervalue it, but you definitely helped change that guy's Ryan's online presence. I mean, it's just obvious. Like, look at his fucking numbers.
Yeah,
like it's just like
and I mean, I would. I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know you weren't gonna brag about it, but like that's exactly that's what you do. That's great.
Yeah, and it was like, so with John, I feel like I've gotten super lucky, because with John, he pretty much was like no holds barred, like do what you think looks best, like just have at it. Ryan was the same exact way. He was like, dude, if you ever have like an idea or something like this, like bring it to me and we'll try it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. With Michael, we don't like create as much content, but like ideas wise and stuff like that, like it's the same exact way. So I feel like I've gotten super lucky with the people I've worked with, and like I've been able to like build a relationship with them where I can go to them with any idea or anything I have in my brain. And that's like, oh god, and that's what I love. It's like that's the name of the game. When you're like working under somebody and you're suppressing your ideas or anything like that, like that's like you're on your way to a miserable life.
Right.
Yeah, literally.
What's something that you like that has happened to you, or in a situation that you can't prepare for? You know what I mean? Like, what you're dealing with. You're working for Michael Rubin. You're surrounded by millions of people, famous people, all that stuff. But like, is there a certain I guess moment where you're just like, fuck, I didn't never think this was gonna be like this. Or, like, this is not what I expected, or anything like that.
Prepared wise, like, I mean, I think being prepared for Ryan was tough because like I would go into filming out and the only thing I would have to go by to create a story was his schedule.
Right.
So I wouldn't like I would pretty much just look at his schedule, and if I knew the person, obviously I knew what they were going to talk about. But like you pretty much go into every day with like an open book. Like you're just going to film everything, and you're going to sit down at the end of the day and kind of like piece a story together after that. With Michael, it's been like super different because like I don't like walk around and follow Michael with a camera. We just kind of like hang out, and I'll like grab a few pictures here and there. But I'm more of like a social media consultant, like in his go-to for anything social media or internet or anything like that.
So do you have the camera a lot when you're with him?
No, I never do.
Oh, okay,
no, yeah, I don't like. And for him, like it's different. Like Ryan Serhant walking around with a guy with a camera is normal, but Michael Rubin walking around having a guy film his every move is kind of just overkill.
Right.
We just don't need.
People know who he is.
Brand, but like eventually, I'll go back to a point like I'm kind of scouting right now to find somebody who I can work with alongside with Michael, and whether it be an athlete or basketball player, NFL player, agent, anything like that, and kind of do the same thing I did for Ryan. But I'm so like. I know how much work goes into it, and I know how much of a pain in the ass it is that I'm literally waiting for like
the right guy,
the prime person, because I'm not gonna go through that again with somebody who it isn't gonna like bring it to that next level.
For sure. And I mean, you've put yourself in a position where you can do that. Like, I mean, it's very inspiring too. I mean, you came from literally just making Bruins videos in your fucking, your house to working for Michael Rubin. It's a good thing, man. It's awesome.
Is he taking you out to like the casinos at night and stuff with him, or is he like, yo, we're going this and you're coming with me? Like, obviously I see your stuff sometimes and you're out at crazy places.
Yeah. So I go, I'm with him a lot, and I get to travel with him, which is super cool. Like being on a private jet, going to the Super Bowl, like, all like flying in a helicopter around New York City. It's all very cool.
So you're in the casino with him?
No, I've never been to the casino.
I was gonna say, what's the most you've seen in the hand?
Never.
Speaking of that Drake song,
I have story. No.
I watched Michael Rubin win $1 million off a couple hands. I decide.
He never been to the casino with him. I've been pretty much everywhere else. But
that's great.
Yeah, the Super Bowl was unbelievable. The NBA All-Star game when I was on the court for the dunk contest was unbelievable. Like it was like literally just a handful away from like Quavo and Cardi and all those people.
So he's a billionaire. Obviously, he's got the 76ers, Fanatics, and a bunch of other things. And you say you've been to his apartment and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you say it's nuts. Is it like maids cook everything, like kind of like he's got everything ready to go, or is it just like he walks in and it's just like kind of?
I mean, obviously.
So it's just like, I wasn't sure as to the.
You think he shovel snow? What do you think he's doing?
No, not shovel snow.
But I know what you're saying. Like, there's
like, do you know the cook's name?
He has a couple. I mean, there's one at he has one at his office in Pennsylvania. He has one that goes to his house.
Do you have a favorite meal?
No, I don't know. That's a weird question. Sushi, actually.
Yeah, that's making funny.
Anyway, yeah. So like, no, but he's a very if you saw him at a restaurant, you went up and had a conversation with him, like you would never know. Like he dresses in black t-shirt and jeans, or like
that's what I'm saying.
Something like that.
You look at him on like
whip around
on TV. It's crazy.
It does have a car.
That's incredible.
He might have a car.
Safe to say, me and Michael Rubin have nothing in common other than we both know Hamwey. I think that's literally the only, and we're white. That's the only thing that me and Michael Rubin have in common. Crazy life for him, though. I mean, what a crazy job. I honestly can't imagine doing that for a living and traveling all around, meeting all these crazy people, and then just like going back again, doing it next week, So shout out Ham, man. That's a really cool job. But we did have to get into some advice that he wanted to give us and some questions that Hamwey had for the podcast. So you're going to hear that.
Where do you see this podcast going?
Oh, great question.
Who are going to be?
I was gonna ask
who are going to be the
so.
next guest? Because like I feel like I'm a pretty.
His dream guest.
I'm a very underwhelming.
One of his
guest.
dream guests is Dustin Poirier. If you're wondering.
That's hilarious.
No, it's one of his dreams.
Shut up. Continue.
And who would be your ideal guest?
Dustin Poirier.
No, not for real. He would definitely be one of the fighters.
He was though.
Ideal guest. That's a good question.
So before we get into that,
I mean, Joe Rogan's a really dumb one to say because that'll never happen.
Why the fuck would you ever want to interview Joe Rogan?
Excuse me?
Dude, you can hear every word he's ever said online.
I would love. Yeah, that's true. I guess if you're
I would do Howard Stern.
Tom Brady would be number one. Tom Brady would be one.
But like someone.
Let's do realistic, more realistic.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
We asked this, and literally one of the guys that he said really was Dustin Poirier. When we came up with this, he was like, guys that are like realistic.
Because we went through sports teams,
and he said that. So like that was like the biggest low blow.
Did you ever hear back from him?
No.
I didn't hit him. I didn't double text him either.
No,
I
we're
just
gonna
said,
wait.
I'm good.
I mean, we're just
his fight just got scheduled too, so maybe after his fight, I'll hit him up.
I mean, it's just a weird time right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's the only reason why
I
I
didn't
yes.
even really want to come on here and talk because it's just such like like everyone's just miserable.
That's why I don't want to talk anything about the coronavirus. I just really don't. I'm just we've done 3 weeks on it.
It'll all be over soon. NBA will be back.
I don't know.
Yeah, what's your prediction for that? How long do you think that's gonna last?
I don't think so.
I don't think the NBA season's gonna come back until next year.
Okay, so you think it's done for the year?
Yeah.
If I were to guess.
Yeah. Right.
No information.
Yeah, no inside information whatsoever.
He
no
has
influence. No
never worked with anybody in any organization.
No conflict of interest.
I actually just don't see it coming back.
Yeah. You're not wrong there. Where do you see the show going? Do you have any questions? Do you have any other questions or advice for the show?
I mean, I give you weekly advice.
Yeah, no, we text pretty frequently. I'm very appreciative of some of the shit you've given me.
I think that you need to be way more consistent.
Meaning what?
More than one a week.
Really? Oh, see, we were talking
way
about this.
more.
Yeah, we've been talking about this.
Way more.
We were thinking about doing like
2 a week. I think 2 a week would be good.
We would like to have it like
2 a week. You
maybe
need to put
one
out,
interview, one regular.
You need to be putting out way more micro content. Like the story. What did you and Al get in an argument about? The whole argument between Al saying that he's not a fan of the show.
The only reason that's not on Instagram is because the audio sucked.
Disagree.
No, it was terrible.
Hard disagree.
It was terrible.
You're just wrong.
No, it's so bad. It was
Mick,
so choppy.
You're wrong.
It's
not
in and out.
It
choppy.
wasn't.
This audio will be all over Instagram because I can hear your shitty voice loud and clear.
It wasn't like so bad that you could even notice it.
No, I know what you're saying, but
I guess talking about the Zoom one that we did.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that you need to put more.
I agree completely.
You need to put more effort into like
promoting it and advertising,
promoting, redistributing. Like
Mick's been killing it.
I know,
but
it's hard, and I know like you're literally like bootstrapping this whole thing.
Yeah, it's like completely brand new.
In.
But like the thing is I agree with what you're saying. I think the only reason why I've been selective of what I'm putting out is because I don't want to be too much with content that I don't really love. Like I guess that Al argument was good. What you're saying.
Do you want my opinion on that?
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
Why?
Because why is what you think is good matter? That's just one person's opinion.
Yeah, but I just meant quality-wise, like literal sound quality. I don't want to put out some shitty. It was skippy. It was
quality
just trash.
was fine. Okay,
but that's why I can get him on here at any time and talk with the microphone.
I hear what Adam's saying though. Because
I know what he's saying. He's right. He's right as far as we got to be more consistent.
You have to cast a wider net. You have to put out way more content so more people it'll reach more people. If you're just putting out 2 Instagram posts and then a podcast once a week, you're not going to reach nearly as much as if you were doing
So what would be our next step?
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this conversation.
I know. Let's have it on here.
The full thing needs to be on YouTube.
Yeah. That's why that's fucking recording.
The full thing needs to be on YouTube. Yeah. Then you need to take 4 to 5 1 minute or under clips from that. Put them on Instagram and Twitter.
Stories or just on Instagram?
Instagram feed. Stories is only to promote.
No, we that's what you're saying.
What else? YouTube, you have to make an account, start engaging with other talk shows.
See, that's completely foreign to me. I can do Twitter, I can do Instagram because I grew up on it.
It's the
I've never done any video shit ever.
That's not video. That's just you going to other pages and commenting.
But I mean, uploading a YouTube video. It sounds stupid, and I know I could do it, but I couldn't do it right now. I literally don't. I've never done it. That's my whole point.
I have no sympathy for you. Figure.
Yeah, I know what you're fucking saying. But my whole thing is
post a YouTube video so hard, Mick. There's fucking 6-year-olds who can do it. Figure it the fuck out.
I know.
Anyway, but
it's a good point.
I have more questions for you.
There's an 8-year-old that makes $28 million a year.
So Mick has been telling me he's moving to New York
for 4 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
What's the plan? What are your thoughts? And what do you love most about it? And what do you hate most about it?
New York or moving?
New York City.
So I would move to New York if I had a comfortable place where I had a steady income and I knew it was in there. If I had a job set up, I would move to New York.
But you wouldn't go there and just try to
I would if I had. But this was the thing. This is where fucking the coronavirus is just fucking me because it's I usually make a good amount of money in the summertime and then kind of figure it out, and we're just now it's. I don't know what's gonna happen.
So your plan would be if there wasn't coronavirus to work all summer and then
not move, but definitely continue. I told myself when we started this podcast, I literally said that internally. I was I'm gonna give it 18 months, just full out, just completely full out. And we've already completely overcame the expectations I had in those 18 months. So now I'm just like, I'm going every day to just try and make this thing better. Now, I got to be realistic about it. I can't just up and move my life to New York. I got a dog. I got everything else. But, like, there is plans of just, like, how can we take this thing further? There's definitely plans of how we can take this thing further. But, like, I think it starts with just making good shit. I don't think we're there yet.
But I don't
where
think
we need to move.
I don't think you need like grade A guests to make this better.
No, I don't. I'm not saying we do. That's why I think with these microphones and everything, it's going to change.
You're saying
the game.
that we need to get out there to network more with people, more so than
Yes, that A, and then B, just like start finding good stories on Cape Cod.
Exactly.
Like it's fucking so easy. Like
yes.
The thing. Like this is what I love about New York, and like what I do is like I'm always like observing people and kind of like, and I'm like living in New York, you get to meet so many random people and like hear so many random stories that like it's kind of opened my eyes to like every fucking person has like a story. Like it may not be like the most interesting, but it like if you have another person on the other side of the conversation who could make it slightly more interesting, like everybody has a story that is worth sharing.
I agree.
So like
I agree.
Your dad, for example. I would fucking sit there and listen to a podcast for 3 hours of your dad because I think he's so fucking entertaining. And he's hilarious and, like, just in general. Like that,
dude, you should have seen him when he came down. Remember when I texted you that morning because I was, like, I was laughing at the job site because he literally.
He's all time.
He comes down. He gets all whatever. He's like, oh, I got an idea. He wants to just come show the video of the boiler and stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
And, he literally did 6 takes going up and down the stairs. Like, I didn't like that one. Back up again. I'm just like,
he's fucking dedicated, man.
I think I might be your dad's biggest Instagram fan. Oh. Like I probably DM him more than you guys do.
He has a way bigger following than we do.
Oh yeah, he's huge.
He's
blowing up.
But you know what I love about that is like it's like so it was like so noticeable right off the bat when he started, and I was like, holy shit, like he actually gets it. Like he
right.
Oh yeah, he's
like,
all about it
because he's a fucking expert in the field. Like, you can just tell.
The thing is, like after he got it quick, like it wasn't a make an Instagram and like gradually like start like making like posting a picture of their boiler room or something like that, but like he was immediately getting after it, immediately doing like humor within that community, within that niche, and it's just fucking blown up. And like just like this construction guy in Pennsylvania who I connected with like five or 6 years ago, and he just started going live every single day, putting out a bunch of content, and like getting a group of like 60 builders who do similar kind of work, and then all engaging with each other.
That's where I'm involved. I mean, I'm not super involved with it, but like Mechanical Hub is his name.
Exactly.
He might come on. Actually,
it's like these niche pages are like just their like if you can build a community, then like you can do social media.
Right.
It's like creating content, building a community, engaging with that community, and getting people to come back to watch.
Yeah.
So like I think what you guys need to do for the podcast way more is just networking. Commenting on more pages from your Instagram account, so more people, you'll drive more traffic to your page, and more people will see like those 1 minute clips that you're going to be putting out.
Do you think we need a podcast page, or do you think it should be just both of us have our own pages and uploading from our own thing?
I think you should probably have a podcast page.
Yeah,
I feel like yours is pretty much the podcast page.
Or just make your at this point.
It pretty much is.
But I got to give you credit too. I don't give Mick credit very often.
There you go.
I gotta give both you guys credit.
I'm listening.
Like, I know like how it felt when I started. Like nobody really knew what I wanted to do, and like I kind of just started making vlogs of like myself going to the beach with like Tom Andrews, and it was super embarrassing, and like I was
saying we should be embarrassed.
I was like ashamed, but like because it was the first time I've like put myself out there for other people to judge and like kind of gauge their opinion on. In that I think that like arguably that's the hardest hump to get over, and once you get over that hump, everything else is a hell of a lot easier. Being in the media industry, like I see so many young people who are just like don't do what they want to do or do what they think is right, and what is driving them because they're afraid of what other people think, and like that breaks my heart every single time, because it's such like it's literally like a delusion that every single person has in their head, because like there's probably a ton of people who made fun of me for like filming myself and making vlogs of going down to Corporation Beach on like a rainy day to music and stuff like that, but I don't think they're laughing anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Francis said it best, dude. When we had him on, he literally said, he was like, however many followers you have, 500, 1,000, whatever, just know that is literally nothing. He's like, just know that whoever you know is nothing. Like, it's just like, expand what you think other, like, because you go based off of like Instagram. I'll just go with my own example. I would post something that I thought my 500 followers would like. I want them to like it. But then I'm like, no, I'm going to post something I think is good. Like, it's just like, I don't care if it gets likes or anything like that. I'm going to post something that's good.
Or authentic.
It's what I mean. Like,
and
just
like,
I'm not catering towards an audience of 500. I'm catering towards a good podcast.
Yeah, and usually they go hand in hand. And that's why Ryan's like the show for Ryan did so well is because it was all real. It was all like in the moment. Like, I would be having a conversation with Ryan about something, and then I'd put that in the vlog, and then people are like who like Ryan would like look at the camera and say, Hamwey, come here, or stuff like that. It makes it feel more real. Like, you would never see that on reality TV. You would never see like Ryan look at the cameraman and say, John, like come over here and like, I want to talk to you real quick. Like, it gives it a whole
behind
new,
the curtain look, almost.
Authentic. Like, people don't want to see like bullshit anymore. Like, just give them something real. Like, I'm so fully convinced that a seaside started a vlog, it would do fucking incredible.
Oh, here we go.
A seaside vlog?
Seaside vlog, I like
fully
that.
Convinced. I think if you like engage, like trap that community and like, because I don't know, I mean, I haven't done
we always talk about it. We joke around that we could have our own reality TV show all the time.
Yeah, and like, I'll sit down with your dad. I'll give him.
I can. Kev, you got plans.
That's the coolest thing about like what I do now is like I can make a reality show out of anything. In a real reality
Kev would
show,
actually
not a
be into it. I wish I was joking, but you should really talk to him because like we joke all. Al would love to do it too.
And you should help them, and it's like
we got to get Kev on here first.
Great, you should help them film it and edit it, and it'll be a fantastic way for you to like get going on your editing chops because it's tough with this because you only have one piece of content a week to like really like dive into and edit. Yeah. But with something like that, like once you start actually like putting in the reps, like you can actually feel yourself getting better and things start becoming more smooth and stuff like that. Like I think like with Ryan, like episode 13 or something like that, I was like really in a fucking groove. And I was just like, there's nothing I can't do. Like if there's something that I don't know how to do, I'll just go on YouTube and look up a tutorial and figure it out that way. But like, it's like the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And like, but you're still at that stage where it's like very difficult to like understand like the fundamentals of the editing programs. It's not like the editing the content itself. It's like the
literally
in-depth
the
of
buttons,
programs.
the buttons, the clicks. Like what does this do? Like that's a lot of just trial and error, and that's why like it's easy to do audio and stuff. And like the editing the podcast really isn't hard for me. Like it takes me like an hour or so, or however long we do it, but it's not too hard to edit it and pull clips and all that.
But how does
video stuff?
How does it make you feel that you never went to like college for any of this kind of stuff, and you're kind of like
but
because for me, like when I figure something out on my own, I get so like
it's
so much more validation for myself, and it's like.
And this is something that like I actually care about, like school and all that shit. Like you just want to get a good grade because you were told you had to get a good grade. I didn't care about the subject. Like I care about this podcast. So when I'm listening to be like, how can we make it better? How can we add this clip? How can we do this? Like it's not like it's a task for me. It's almost like I like doing it.
So do you think that you would have learned quicker in school how to do all this, or
no,
like
trial and error? I'm a hands-on learner. I mean, like if you weren't the teacher, but just say a teacher sat with me and taught me how to edit, definitely would learn more than what I could do right now. But that's just not an option where I went to high school.
No, but I was talking about like if you went to like film school or something.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm sure you could learn through it, and I think just like you're saying, you could learn like the fundamentals. Like you could learn how to do it, but that doesn't mean you can make good content, or it doesn't mean you're gonna sound good or look good or anything like that. But like if you know how to do it, you know how to do it. But that doesn't mean your shit's gonna translate.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean. The most like satisfaction I get is when somebody asks me like where I went to college.
Right.
It's like I have the answer in my back pocket. I'm locked and loaded, and it puts a smile on my face every single time.
All right, we're going a little long right now, so I'm gonna wrap it up. But here's the deal: Hamwey, great interview, man. I love him. He was so good here, but I have to include this last little bit of audio here. You know, I'm not letting him get away with it. He thought he was being a sly son of a bitch, bringing up the Brady Kraft Belichick dilemma. Trying to say that the team's not at fault, Tom wanted to leave, all this bullshit. And you know what? I wasn't going to let him come on my podcast, me and Christian's podcast, come into our house and fucking spew Tom Brady's legacy. Fuck you, Hamwey. That's what I have to say. I love you. Thanks for doing the podcast. Fuck you. Listen to this, man. If you're a Brady fan, try not to throw up.
Yeah. Yep. I think you owe Mr. Kraft an apology.
I don't owe anyone.
All right, so this is
funny.
So
we were texting
we
about
did.
this.
We had a whole texting thing about this earlier.
Because I think there needs to be another voice in this podcast that kind of talks about how ridiculous it is.
Okay.
That you you won't be a Patriots fan after Tom Brady. Like it kind of just shows how you have zero loyalty towards your team.
I have full loyalty to one man, the guy who feeds me.
Yeah, that man let me ask you this. Isn't it with like, I don't know if you watched the whole interview today, but if you watched the whole interview
I just heard clips of it and I heard a lot of it.
It seemed very telling that he seemed like he wanted to move on and he was ready to.
Sure.
100%. So that's why you owe Mr. Kraft an apology.
Okay, so my
I'll let you guys go.
I want Jonathan.
You guys
tears in Kraft's thing trying to tell him that he was leaving.
And I want an apology for Robert, Jonathan, and the entire Patriots organization.
Okay. So
you're never getting it.
Here's what you're gonna get: a big fuck you, because there's no chance I'm apologizing to them. I'll tell you why too. I'm not gonna. What do you think Tom Brady's gonna say in his first fucking public interview as a Buccaneer? Yeah, I want to be a Patriot. Yeah, no, it was. I wish I stayed there. Of course he's gonna say I want to move on. It was time to move on. But the facts are what it is.
You didn't listen.
Hold on. The facts are what it is. Tom Brady, for the last 2 years, has been begging for a multi-year deal that they won't give him. And that's all we're going to say. We don't need to make it Brady-orientated, but everybody knows in their right mind, if they offered Brady a multi-year deal, he's the quarterback next year.
So you're calling him a liar?
Look, I'm calling Tom Brady saving face. I don't think
all I'm saying is I think when Kraft came out the next week on Stephen A, or immediately on Stephen A and said, look,
the next day, Christian,
if Tom wanted to be here, he would have been here. And then Tom goes on Howard Stern, the most open interview he's ever had by far.
He literally
just talks about the whole time. He's like, look,
I agree. It was the most open interview.
I agree completely. Hold on. He goes, I have accomplished everything I could accomplish in New England. We've won 6 Super Bowls.
Like I said, it doesn't get much dumber than that. 2 idiots that I don't even know where Christian stands right now on the whole Brady thing. He's such a fair weather fan. I swear to God, I don't know what he's up to. But Hamwey, just stop drinking the Kool-Aid, for Christ's sake.